Good evening, everyone. Tonight is March 8th, 2016. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting. If I could have a motion to, well, first of all, do any amendments to the agenda? Yes.
Madam Chair, just for the public's benefit, number 5 under my report, the building department hours proposal will be moved to your next March meeting. And the second item through the chair is, I know there was a request about moving or a discussion about moving the board meeting from March 22nd to Wednesday, March 23rd. I don't know when the board wants to discuss.
Was that? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I guess there's an event on the Taste and the Show.
Oh, is it on Tuesday again?
Yeah.
I mean, if we had our regular schedule, we would have missed it because of March 1st. You know?
I mean,
Right.
we can talk about it then, but I'm fine.
Yeah, so you want to take it up under new business?
Sure.
Okay.
Make a
All right.
motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Agenda is approved. A couple of announcements. There will be a public meeting. It's about East Main Street Water and Sewer Improvement Project. The Department of Public Works will be conducting a public meeting on Wednesday, March 16th at 7 p.m. here at the Ayer Town Hall. It is about the construction of the new water main, and sewer pipe repairs will be starting in April on East Street, East Main Street, and Faulkner Street. The meeting will discuss project schedule, traffic management, and detours, impacts on water and sewer service, paving, and restoration, and answer all questions. And believe it or not, a winter parking ban is still in effect as of Friday, November 15th, 2015 through April 15th, 2016. The winter parking ban prohibits the parking of any motor vehicle on the street or sidewalk throughout the town of Ayer overnight from 12:01 a.m. to 6 a.m. and during snowstorms, which we're almost done. We're almost through this. So.
We're going to get hammered the last
Oh,
one.
hush, now we will, because you just wished it on us, so blame him. So. All right.
Yeah, that's fine. Let it snow in March. It melts in a day.
Anybody here for public input? All right, moving right along. Chief Murray.
Evening, everybody. Evening, Chief.
Hi, Chief.
Thank you for seeing me tonight.
Thanks for coming.
Always a pleasure.
So before the board is, I have a request for a reserve fund transfer in the amount of $12,872. This would be to pay for a radio consultant to help us try to figure out our radio problems. This is an unforeseen expense, not something I included in my budget. I think you folks know the problems we've been having with our radios ever since I started with the town. And with narrow banding, it became an even worse problem. And there are areas of town where our radios just don't work, especially our portables. We've tried to mitigate this problem. We just don't have the expertise. And we just keep running into walls and frustration. So we need somebody who knows what they're doing to help us out and tell us what it is we need to do.
So, I mean, just for the general public, you have areas literally where there could be an officer that you can't communicate?
Yes. Yeah, if they're out of their car on their portable radio, yeah, we have that
Wow.
problem.
Okay.
We were having a problem with Wyndham coming over on our frequency.
Mhm.
That's been mitigated.
Yeah,
We've taken
yeah.
care of that through the work of Sergeant Edmonds and Lieutenant Gill in the back. But it's still, we have areas where we can't communicate, so we're trying to fix that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have thought the new radios took care of it. And
Well, unfortunately, it's not the radio issue. It's the
It's
hills
the
and
frequencies.
valleys that we have in the town and the unique geography of there. Again, we're unique. It just makes some areas of town, it doesn't work.
we need some towers or something, maybe.
More than likely, we're going to use what they call a voter system, which is like a booster pack. Most of the towns around us use those, and we'll put them in different. That's what the consultant is going to tell us, which is the best unit to use and where to put it so that we get our best coverage.
Almost like a Wi-Fi
Like,
booster type.
yeah,
Basically,
like a
that's exactly how it
repeater.
works, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Got it?
Got it.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve a reserve fund transfer for the police department, the amount of $12,872 for account number 01210 for a consultant for radios.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I believe you guys have the paperwork. And you'll just sign that.
Do you already have someone, chief, or is it just something you have to go out to?
Yeah,
bid for?
we did go out to bid, and we found a person that can do the work for us, and this was their quote,
Okay.
so we're all set.
All right, good, so they can roll on it right away.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, chief.
All right.
That's just the chair, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Mark.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hope you've exercised all your writing hands. This is
Why?
the
How many
contract for
signatures?
execution. You only have one copy here. I have 5 more in the room.
Okay.
You're
This
not
is-
my favorite tonight.
This is the contract for the water and sewer improvements on East Main Street as we awarded at the previous meeting. It's for Cedrone Corp. of North Billerica, Massachusetts, in the amount of $1,079,576.50. And it's for signature by the board. And then there's there's dates, and I think the town accountant has to sign off in some places, so it's the first sign here
Okay.
that needs to get signed. But we'll fill in the dates afterwards.
Okay,
Okay. Can do it later, or?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
all right. You'll have it by tomorrow morning.
Sounds
Are
good.
they ready to roll now, Mark? For the most part, weather?
yeah, I talked to, well, obviously until the contract's signed, you really can't do anything, but I talked to him about starting to line up his orders for his stuff, and he's ready to go.
Good.
Okay.
Good news.
All right, sounds good. We'll get it all signed for you.
Can't wait.
Is there anything else you need?
No,
Oh, okay.
you just need a motion to.
Okay, you do need a
to sign
motion.
it, Yeah.
We
Okay.
already voted on it, though,
No,
right?
we already voted.
To execute the contract? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
All right,
Yep.
so that's
So we just
all.
gotta sign it.
yeah.
Yeah, so, so I can leave this with the other ones, and
Yeah.
you can just sign
Yeah,
it?
sign it after the
Yep.
meeting.
Right, thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
thank you.
You say you can't wait, but until it's done, but it's great.
All right. Okay, so I believe we have the Personnel Board reclassification recommendations. Lieutenant Gill? Good evening. Robert?
Madam Chair, through you to the board, and welcome to the Chair of the Personnel Board. As the board is aware, there are 4 reclassifications before you for consideration tonight. Lieutenant Gill can speak to the Personnel Board's purview, which was to make a recommendation as it pertained to the grade. And then the second piece, as is in the board's materials, is a purview of the board to assign the step to each position. This is the 4 positions: the Superintendent of Public Works, Director of Parks and Recreation, Town Engineer, and DPW Business Manager. As the board is aware, when the town approved the reclassifications at the October 2015 Fall Town Meeting, leading up to that process, the Chair of the Personnel Board and myself recognized, based on input and concerns by certain employees and commissions, a need to correct or to address some deficiencies that existed in these 4 positions. And that process and that work has been completed. So and just for the record, I know that the board has this, but I have hard copies of my memo pertaining to the step assignment of step 7 for the Superintendent of Public Works position. So I know that you have the memo recommending the grades from the Personnel Board through the whole process. There is one position, the DPW Business Manager position, where the Personnel Board and myself, let's say, disagree, have a different grade on that, and would be happy to answer any questions on that discrepancy on that one. The other 3, through the independent process, we actually came to the same grade assignment for all 3 of the other positions, and the step recommendations are before you as well.
Okay.
The memo's kind of clear. We met on 2 different dates, February 3rd and February 17th, to address 4 positions that we've been hearing throughout the process that wanted to be addressed and considered for reclassification. So we undertook that, and it's a painstaking process. But we came up with the recommended grades for the Superintendent of Public Works from a grade 14 to a grade 16, the Director of Parks and Recreation from a grade 10 to a grade 11, the Town Engineer from a grade 11 to a grade 12, and the DPW Business Manager from a grade 8 to a grade 9. What we would suggest for step placement is the model that the HRS has given us to follow, that when you're doing a reclassification, what you would do is take and if there was indeed a classification to another grade, would be to take the current salary, apply it to the new grade, and find the next closest step to that. So we would be asking that the Board of Selectmen adopt the step placement according to the model that we've been given.
And through the chair, as the board has my memo, and this echoes my recommendation to the Personnel Board back on January 6th of 2016 in applying that method on the step. Respectfully, with respect to the position of the Superintendent of Public Works, which is the Board of Selectmen's purview, I have recommended on the 6th and recommending tonight a step 7. The reasons for that are highlighted in the second page of my memo to the board, having to do, and the step is reflective of the incumbent to an extent, based on the credentials that the current incumbent has, as well as some extensive work that the incumbent has done and continues to do based on his skill sets and expertise. And I do also believe that the step 7 is warranted, because one of the things that the Personnel Board and myself struggled with is, to some extent, the comps for this position, looking at comparable superintendents in other communities became somewhat of a challenge, because they have a DPW superintendent, but that DPW superintendent does not have, for example, wastewater treatment plant, or it doesn't have wastewater and solid waste and so forth. So the position of Superintendent of Public Works for the town of Ayer is to some extent in a very small, unique universe. So that's why I'm recommending on this position a grade 16, 7.
If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, didn't the study kind of not compare that as well? What Mark's position is, wasn't it more compared to towns that just had a DPW superintendent?
Yeah, through the chair to Selectman Hillman, there is no question that through the reclassification process, and I believe the chair will agree, we said that we would look at these concerns, and you can see through the Personnel Board's work on the grades that there was a difference on that. So that's one issue. But to your point, Selectman Hillman, yes, in the comps of the position, and there were comps for that position, but if you drill down into those comparable positions, some of them that were compared in the study, yes, it's a DPW superintendent position, but for example, there's no wastewater treatment plant, was one of the reoccurring themes, and some other things. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration in the scope of the position on the step level.
Yes, Gary.
Do you have a salary of, the current salary of, well, 98,000 for the, and the current salary for the,
The adjustment?
no, for the engineer?
No, that's 75.
74.3.
Yeah.
Is
Through
it
the
in there?
chair, the current salary for the Department of Public Works superintendent is 98,000.
No.
And
No, not the
The
superintendent.
engineer?
Yeah.
Lieutenant?
The I have him at that position at 74,336. Lying outside of grade 11.
Okay, when we took this study, and we pretty much increased all our department heads, because they got slotted in a higher level, correct? Well, I don't know if you remember that, but
During the reclass, everybody more or less.
bumped up. Nobody lost money.
Yeah,
So
through
people
the
bumped
chair.
up a lot.
Nobody lost.
Yeah.
Nobody lost money.
Yeah, through the chair to Selectman Lucas' question. One is, going into the study, we figured there would be some adjustment up. So nobody was adjusted down, obviously. And then the adjustment up varied depending on the position in the study. These that were brought forth were brought forth as early as the public hearing that the Personnel Board conducted on March 30th of 2015. Concerns were raised even before that, but I'm going to just use that as a benchmark. On the 31st of 2015 in March, concerns were brought up about the DPW superintendent position, the DPW engineer position, and the DPW business manager. The Parks Commission also came forward with respect to their position. So it was these 4 positions.
And the grade itself, when you're trying to establish the grade, you're looking at the actual job description and not the individual?
Correct.
Okay. So so then the step is based on the individual's criteria, whatever they have in their background. Is that what we're saying?
Right, and in the methodology that is recommended in the study, and the lieutenant had explained that, you get that assignment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back from January now respectfully requesting, which I believe is definitely proper, consideration on the superintendent step as a step 7, based on all the reasons I outlined. And then they'll move to the chair once they're assigned to these steps now. So then it's, assuming they get a satisfactory performance evaluation at the end of each year, they would move up a step until they're maxed out on the grid.
Even though the superintendent, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything, even though the superintendent's on the personal services contract?
Correct. If you remember,
Okay.
we have made as a town, the board's policy decision is to open up all of these contracts and to assign the grade and the step in the contract, and then they'll follow that. And that's what we did back in November.
Okay. But was or was there not one that's why it wasn't done in the non-union compensation study? Is because it was worded in that contract that you couldn't. Is that why it wasn't done before?
I believe there was no language that precluded any of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm having trouble with the fact that we slotted the police chief in, fire chief in the spot that they would have fallen without any regard for anything else. All the department heads got a raise, but they got a raise within the grade and within the reclassified grade to the closest step. In my opinion, it should be that way for everybody.
I would agree with you normally, but this position, I actually have to be honest with you, I think this whole study was flawed beyond belief. And no, this is not based on you or, I mean, you guys did a great job dealing with it. The woman took, 3 years for us to get us back?
You're speaking to the HRS.
The HRS, yeah, I just want to make that clear.
Mhm.
This position, I think the chiefs, in my opinion, were comparable to other positions. And I know when I read through it, they had Mark basically on par with David Mahar, even though David hung plants and Mark's got a bunch of guys.
Not even close.
How would you explain it?
Money-wise? They were
No.
not even close.
In terms of basically responsibility, I don't have it in front of me, but I remember reading it. It made no sense whatsoever. So I don't know how you have someone that's in charge of
I guess,
I don't know what David did actually at all, but in hindsight, but I don't know how you can put someone in charge of, 20 union members in 3 different departments and say that that's fair. That'd be like saying,
it may not be fair.
that'd be like saying that the fire chief's only responsible for himself.
You're right. It
So
may
I
not
agree
be-
with what you're saying. I'm just saying I think this position was flawed in that respect. I guess that's why I'm disagreeing with you, but agreeing with you. I understand what your point is, but this should have been picked up earlier, I guess, and it should have been brought to us earlier. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, you guys would
Right.
have studied it more than me, so correct me if I am wrong.
If I may,
Yes.
one of the things that we had to make sure, so we could apply that, to apply everything that the study was going to offer us, we had to put the study in place.
Mhm.
And what we were, the only thing we were looking for prior to was anything that was absolutely and overtly wrong prior to putting the study into place when we initially placed people. And there was one employee that we had to address that. These 4, we have told from the onset of the public hearings, was that once this is in place, we will then begin the process to look at reclassification. And that's what we've started to do, and culminating with tonight.
So we went through a year classification, which is wrong, and we got to reclassify. A study for a year.
If not longer.
HRS gave us, if not longer.
Yeah.
Well, the HRS, didn't we
And
have
we
that
didn't
study
put-
in
that
2014,
didn't go-
and then they finished in 2015, and now
Oh,
we're in
she came
2016?
and she came and then she disappeared off the planet for 8-10 months.
We had Mr. Hood back here, Finance Committee, and specifically asked the question where he intended to go with the classifications, because they wanted to budget it. And we pretty much said that we're going to slot them in. That's all I'm going by. I mean,
I'm not, no.
what's equal is equal.
You're right. I'm just saying that this was flawed, and I guess it should have been. And like I said, I don't know if you've correct me if I am wrong on this. Was this position flawed and not? Was it set aside to be corrected later? Because Gary does make a valid point. When you start picking individual people, I agree with him. But if the position was flawed from her,
Yes.
and we've set forth the standard that I agree with Gary, then
Yes.
we're not treating the DPW superintendent or anybody else who, just in general, that was treated fairly, if that was our practice, up until the point where we're gotten to the people that were not covered correctly in the am I making sense? In the study.
Yep.
So I guess you may have to help
Sure.
clarify for me.
So by the time that last March, when the Personnel Board conducted the public hearing on this, and even before then, HRS did not do the town any favors with the study. And this is, I've said this before for the record, so I'll say it again. There were enormous delays, number one. There were concerns about, and kudos to Lieutenant Gill and to the Personnel Board, and to department heads, and I'll even say myself, the town picked up all of the slack to do what was correct. In March, before went to town meeting, we knew that the DPW, there were concerns with these DPW positions, and the Parks Commission brought forth concerns on their position as early as March of last year. What the lieutenant just said, which I agree with, the problem is our entire classification system was not only outdated, but it was flawed. In other words, the whole system that we used, so it was stated, if you recall, the Personnel Board first made the decision that we would, because this was going to come to spring town meeting last year, it got moved to the fall, and that we would address, we needed to get the study in place, and that we made a commitment to these 4 positions, we would look at these concerns and errors, which we have since October through now. It's been about a 6-month process on the reclassification. When that study went to town meeting, with respect to, for example, if you look in the material from the Personnel Board, and you're correct, Selectman Hillman, the DPW superintendent position was put at a grade 14, on par with a grade 14 with the Economic Development Director position. That immediately stuck out because, as we know, the Department of Public Works has not only the largest municipal budget, but one of the largest workforces under it, all of those things that the board knows. It's a much larger and more responsible position than, say, the economic development. Nothing against that. The other piece was that there were some issues as far as the comps. Now, again, as the lieutenant and I have talked about at length, we did our best looking at comparable positions. The town engineer that's before you, for example, they only had one comparable data point for, and it was a deputy superintendent, they being HRS. So I believe, and I say this sincerely, I believe that through the efforts of the personnel board and the administration and the support of this board in town meeting in the fall, that we are now at a point, as the lieutenant, as chair, has stated, we are at a fair and equitable point that we can now have a system in place to move forward. And the whole study wasn't completely flawed because there were other positions that were placed on the grid and there were not issues. But there were issues.
No, I guess my reason for asking is because I agree with Gary in his point. We had a study, we follow it across the board, but then we find out that there's 4 positions that aren't correct. So how do we...
Yeah.
Equitably.
I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, because I agree with Selectman Luca that they should be, based on the study being perfect or at least better than it was. And
If we were not to do what we are recommending tonight, that would be, in my opinion, an injustice to these positions, and there would not be a level of fairness and equity. How can you have the Department of Public Works position at the same grade as the Economic Development Director?
But we had a personal services contract, so that's not even a point.
We had personal service contracts, but we also agreed that we were going to assign all of the positions onto grades and steps, reopen the contracts, and put those grades and steps in the contract.
Right.
So all of the positions, though the majority of the positions at the October town meeting were all given increases. Now, the level of those increases, some were considerable, some were negligible. I think these are within line with the correction of the reclassification.
Okay, so currently, based on what you said, it's the current salary, which is incorrect in our packet and has been corrected as tonight, is $98,000. If you were to look at the original packet, grade 16, step 4, that brings it up to a little over 99. Your recommendation is a step 7, which brings it to 107. And I'm not disputing the beautiful resume that our superintendent has or the work that he has. But what I want to make sure is that if we're sitting here saying that we're trying to make sure that the step is equitable, that is step 7 too high?
In my professional opinion, no. It is competitive and comparable to this type of position in the marketplace.
Lieutenant, what was the personnel's board's recommendation again? I'm sorry for the...
They recommended grade 16, step 4.
Step 4.
No, just grade 6, just a point of order, just grade 16, and then using the methodology from the study, it would be a 4.
Right, and that was initially when the current salary was incorrect, which we've now been corrected. But if you still go on the original recommendation of step 4, it's a small increase. But at the same time, yes, we do need to look at the credentials the individual has.
Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, that, but I don't think the other positions were flawed, and I believe some of them received larger increases than what would be proposed at step 7 that have already been approved, correct?
In
Some
instances,
much larger.
Yes.
which was fine. I had no issue with those because those were comparable comps. And I don't think the employees did as well. I guess,
So if we were to approve your recommendation, we have to reopen the contract, is that what you said?
Correct. In other words, like we did to the chair in October, if you approve these recommendations, then we, in the case, in two cases, in the case of the DPW superintendent and the town engineer, we would open the contract and assign this grade in step, and then those contracts will follow the grid. That's what we did with mine, the two chiefs, the town accountant, and any of the other personal service contracts from October.
I wish I had what some of the other positions got for bumps in front of me, which I don't.
Is the superintendent slotted in? Did I ask that already? Just, not the superintendent, Dan's, the engineer.
The recommendation was from the, on the grade is a 12, and the step would be 8.
And currently, he makes what?
70,
74, 336.
Okay, and that would bump him up to 75,
it would be,
based on what's written in here. It would bump him up to
Sorry.
75,084.
Correct.
What was the number? I'm sorry.
Well,
Janice, you just said, I'm looking at the
current,
estimate
yeah,
adjustment.
currently, the engineer's making
Oh, I'm looking at my packet,
74,336.
sorry.
And then putting it grade 12, step 8, brings him up to 75,084. So it's a small bump for him.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And the business manager, there's no increase.
the business manager, I recommended a classification of grade 12, step 3.
Yeah.
The personnel board came out at it as a grade 9. The position at its current compensation, even at a grade 9, the incumbent is, we use the term redlined, is maxed out. The reasoning on the difference between the 9 and the 12 is I independently did the classification with the manual. The personnel board, they did it individually and then by consensus, and we disagree on some of the rating points. Some have some significant differences on the rating points in the position. Also, I was trying to, with this position,
I apologize, I thought I turned that off. I just did, but I
the record reflect it wasn't mine. That
Snap.
that the position was also, in addition to looking at the criteria for the position, looking to see if there was an opportunity for some growth and to assign the position into the grid. This position at grade 9 will just be, we'll call it an outlier. It'll just,
Okay, but on the business manager, when did the business manager become the business manager? Wasn't it in 2014?
Yes.
Right
Well, that
after,
might- my
right
point-
after you became chair. So
Yeah.
it was originally a grade 8
We
in
negotiated.
2014, and now it's 2016. The job description, which you base your grades on, okay? And for the record, how many are assigned to the personnel board?
There's
How many people?
four of us.
4 of us? Okay. And what was the vote on these things?
That was a unanimous vote for a grade 9.
Okay. And that's based on the job description. So that tells me there might be a problem with the job description.
Well, can I add to that? And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
These two positions that we're talking about, Dan's and the business
I know,
manager.
but then we bumped over to the business manager.
Yeah, but we added these, vetted them, compared them to other communities. It's not like we hired, just out of the blue, hired a DPW superintendent and said we're going to slot him in at $50,000 and found, you know what I mean? These positions within the last year were rectified, I think, and put in correctly, unlike some of the positions that had been in there for a while, because everybody did their homework, did their studies, figured out what other towns are making comparable, including the engineer, Kevin's position. And I think we started them. Do you understand where I'm coming
Yeah.
with? There are new positions that I think we got correct. Dan's been about a year, Kevin's almost 2 years now. I think we got pretty close to where they should have been before the compensation study. So I think that's why you see less of a bump, because they were comparable, where other positions were some were way out of whack.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry that the business manager's out of step, at the end, but that's the way steps go.
Correct.
You step out, and that's the way it is. Now, for us to circumvent what the Personnel Board has recommended with a grade 9, I don't see the reasoning behind it.
I got nothing.
And I'm not in any way telling the board, for the record, my rating disagrees with the Personnel Board. That's not a crime. You don't have to, if you ask my recommendation on it, it would be a grade 12 at a step 3. The Personnel Board came up with a grade 9. It's now before you. I mean, I think that there are some things that maybe do need to be looked at in the job description. We spent an enormous amount of time with the Personnel Board on this.
But that's not even a close grading. You're talking 3 steps, 4
Yeah,
steps up.
there's something.
4 grades up.
Yeah, they're just, that one
On
really
a job we just converted,
Yeah,
business manager.
Business
Right.
manager. Oh, I know, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about,
yeah.
No,
So
I'm
I
sorry, I'm
agree.
jumping
That
around.
one's,
Yeah, no,
that
I
one's.
apologize. I wasn't sure
That
what
one
you were talking
steps right out as to, wait a minute.
the business manager, I agree, because that, my point was, those were positions we just put in at an equitable.
Yeah, because I would think that when the business manager's position went before the Personnel Board, that there would have been some type of an update to the job description from the original job description that we made the position of business manager. And if they're only getting to a grade 9, then I'd maybe say a badly written job description.
On this position, the position originally, and some of you know the whole history to it, the position of it originally was a union
Mark has-
position under the DPW union. And as you know, that's a whole separate system. And then some of you who are on the board, the position was taken out of the union. And then consideration was given, as we're talking as far as compensation and so forth, when that was originally removed from the union, there was consideration and an increase given at that point. This job description, this is, if you will, the first time the job description was incorporated into this study. HRS originally had it as they used the old job description instead of the one that the town gave them for
Which
business.
was recommended to this board to adopt, wasn't it?
Well, we did, then the business manager position was approved, but the argument is that when looking at the job description, how you rate the job description, there's a difference of opinion on that.
Is it job description or job duty? Because there's many of, and I say it that way because there's many of us that will have a job description. We've all at some point in our life, maybe even laughingly said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that. It's not my job description." But then there's duties that aren't necessarily in the description. So, Mark?
Well, just from this, a little bit on the background on business manager. The business manager position was not included in the HRS study.
Right, we know
It's
that.
not this manager.
Well, the position, I believe, when the board first made the position of the business manager was by a recommendation from the HRS, and that's why it was converted into a business manager, if I remember correctly.
I just know that I put together a job description for the business manager, and that's what this was based on.
And that's what you put forward to the Personnel Board?
And I'll just mention, I probably know as much about this HRS compensation study as anybody in this room right now, because I've read it about 30 times.
Probably more than the person that did it. Wrote it.
I did independently back in November, before we started this one, I made a recommendation to Robert. I did the position rating based strictly on the job description, and I came up with a grade 11. So, and there's a lot of interpretation with the criteria, how it fits in the job description. And I'll give you an example from a personal point of view. Under the category of physical skills and effort,
Okay,
they were rating, when they rated my position, they were rating me at the same level that the town accountant was rated at.
They being HRS.
No, meaning the personnel board. So it's an interpretation of
Well-
what it says in the job description. So there, like I said, I came up with 11, they came up with a 9, and there were some people on the personnel board that had differences of opinion on different categories, and some
But-
significant.
but
So-
based on what Lieutenant Gill has just said, it was a unanimous decision by the Personnel Board to make the recommendation. So
Right, I'm not.
whatever
I'm just saying.
so we're not reinventing the wheel here.
No, but I
But-
just wanted to point out that when I did it independently, I came up with a grade 11.
But we've really
Well, I'm
given
sorry,
the
we're talking about
responsibility of this classification to the Personnel Board. Okay, all right, let's,
And then I just
I think we need
wanted
to, no, I think we need to take this one step at a time. Gary?
Just wanted to point out that step 11 that Mark came up with is,
Business manager's talking about.
now you're talking about David Maher and Mark?
Mhm.
It's the same as Jeff, Director of Parks and Recreation. Is that fair and equitable at that grade?
Business manager and Jeff.
It's apples and oranges.
Well, I have opinions on that position as well, but.
Okay.
But
All
no, you're right, but I don't see, you know what I mean? There could be miracles going on down there. I happen to see firsthand what Mr. Thomas does,
I understand.
but I see what you're saying. So I guess I'm confused now because we're all
I
around
know,
on
so
this.
let's go back to, let's make a decision on the superintendent.
And can I just make one other point, as I mentioned? When they talked about the initial step in the category, I think Lieutenant Gill said that it was assigned to the closest, your existing compensation to the closest step. If you read the report, that's not completely what it says. It says significantly more.
Well-
It says the range is like a scale, providing the town with the opportunity to make distinctions between employees, not positions, based upon established criteria applied consistently. This criteria might include job performance, special abilities, experience, longevity, and/or other factors determined by the town.
All right, well, the Personnel Board is tasked with assigning a grade and making a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. And then the town administrator recommends us to the Board of Selectmen the step. And the Board of Selectmen decide what the grade's going to be, and the Board of Selectmen decide what the step is going to be.
So, Madam Chair, respectfully to that point, in taking these in order, the recommendation on the DPW superintendent is a grade 16 from the Personnel Board and a step 7 from the town administrator.
Grade 16 was unanimous. It's just the step, correct?
All right, so the original recommendation was a step 4. Now it's being raised to a step 7 based on the new information that Robert brought to us today.
The original recommendation was a step 7 on January 6th.
Okay, let me rephrase. In the
Yeah.
packet.
Right, and
In the packet.
I've corrected that, correct.
Okay, so what's in the packet,
Yep,
written to us, sent to
Right.
us in the packet, was the superintendent, a grade 16, step 4, which you have now adjusting, based on your memo dated yesterday, March 7th, that it be grade 16, step 7.
Right, to be consistent with January 6th.
Because
Yep.
the amount in the packet of salary is also incorrect, which is corrected in this memo to the Board of Selectmen dated March 7th. So if you go with the step 4, it's a small increase based on the current salary. Upgrading to, if you go to the step 7, as recommended by Robert on March 7th to the Board of Selectmen, that obviously is a bigger increase. So,
Can I just ask a question?
Yep.
Brian, when you, how do you, like, when you study the position, I guess you go, with that step, I guess you're just kind of, you're not, are you going by the person, the position, what the position is, or just more where it slots in, per se, as just a streamline method? Because I guess the town administrator has more interaction with the various department heads that you may not. Obviously, your interactions with Chief Murray, Chief Pedrazi are more probably than they are with Mr. Wetzel or the business manager. So I guess...
Is the question on step placement?
I guess, how you would...
So, using the HRS model and with every other employee that we've applied this transition to, it's been the current salary as it is in a reclass, put them into their new grade, and then assign them, if it doesn't fall exactly on that new step, assign them to the next, the next closest step up. So there is no intervention as to, maybe this one should go up 2 steps or 5 steps
Okay.
or to the max step. This
But-
is strictly on salary.
Okay, which is fair until we get to the point where we feel that the position was not categorized. Yeah,
Characterized.
yeah, thank you.
Right.
Correctly, unlike some of the other ones, because I think...
Interpreter.
What's that?
I mean, an interpreter.
Thank you.
well, the job description is what we would use if we ever had to have, put out a job posting.
No, I understand. I'm just saying with
And then we would look at the individual that came forward that we wanted to hire and then hire the...
No, I agree. I guess my point is, I agree with the way the personnel board conducted the way they put the steps, because up until a certain point, I don't think there was any objections on where these positions were placed. I haven't heard of any. And then this one comes to us last, and there was some issues that were brought up a long time ago. And I think we agree, or some of us, I'm not sure if all of us agree, that some of the things in that position weren't put correctly. So I guess my point is not to overrule the personnel board, but are we making a correction to fix a flawed report in a couple different positions?
You're making a correction, you're also assigning the step to the position to reflect the incumbent and also to make the position competitive in the marketplace.
Yeah, I said that in way too many words, but I guess that's what I was getting at. But unfortunately, HRS didn't do all of that homework
Right,
for that position.
Right, HRS gave us comps for DPW superintendents that did not oversee
Water.
wastewater or even water in some cases, or transfer stations and so forth. This was the Ayer's DPW positions are unique in the scope and complexity involved in the positions. And so the personnel board and I, there's unanimity on the grade as grade 16, and if you used a strict method on the 4, but I'm recommending the 7 based on the comps and based on the incumbent. And
Okay.
I believe
No,
that-
I agree. I guess
Yeah.
what I'm getting at, it's not like the personnel board is saying you're wrong. They just they followed the correct policy in my mind based off the study.
Right, and they're
So it was
just limited
fair.
to the grade, right. The
They
step is,
Move the step.
mhm,
All right.
but the step
But-
is your purview. You could go higher.
I don't
All right.
think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Love you, Mark, but
All right, so do we want to make a decision?
so I guess I was just trying to make that clear. or make it clear for myself, I guess.
I just want to make a point that I'm just worried about the other department heads, that they're going to try to come and sell themselves to the way this has been done. You know, it was a pretty open process, and we pretty much said that we're going to slot you in when the study comes out. And now we're doing something that's opposite of that, so I'm just,
Valid point, but correct me if I'm wrong, this was...
I don't want to beat a dead horse, I'm done.
No, I haven't disagreed with anything you
Yeah.
said. I think it's a unique situation, unfortunately, because it was brought up quite a while ago, right? And when the study came up.
Right,
And it
and
kinda
as the
got
board is
pushed.
aware, per the personnel policy, reclassification, the request has to be made by the employee, reviewed by the department head, if applicable, approved by the department head, made to me to be referred to the personnel board. And the lieutenant and I, with these 4 positions, I mean, he is the chair, but the personnel board, from March of last year, believed that these 4 should be given the proper process through the whole reclassification to get this correct. And I think that we have, with one differing point on the issue of the business manager. But again, I think grade 16, step 7 for the DPW superintendent is appropriate.
And my guess would be, we have some strong department heads. I guess if they felt that they were not graded correctly, they probably would have spoken up, but
Well, they will now.
Well,
They will now.
I
All right, so
disagree with that, but, I mean, if they do, that's too bad. They had their opportunity. So we got, have we spoken about the
No.
Do you want to do
do you want
To
to,
the-
do we
each
want to
individually?
do we want to make a decision on the superintendent and then go to the next one?
I think that's probably the best, because we're a little bit all over the map there, and I'm a little confused myself on
Yeah, so
which
let's
person we're talking about.
Okay. So are we in agreement with the step 7? I think we're all in agreement with the grade 16. Are we in agreement with the step 7?
I am. Too.
Not me.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
No, I'm not.
All right, we haven't made a motion or anything. What
Yeah,
would be
I'm
your
s-
recommendation, Gary?
I'll tell you what, I'll make a motion that we approve grade 16, step 4, immediately, not wait till July 1st.
It's just opened up a whole other
That's right.
can of worms.
Okay. No second?
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
No,
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
because
Yeah,
we
chair
have,
says aye. All opposed? Yeah.
no, I just don't know how we did that without even discussing it and how we can even do it. It just made no sense to me whatsoever.
Through the chair, just a point of clarification. Respectfully, could you explain why?
Yeah, what does
We
that
did-
do?
we-
Why do we just
2
completely
points.
just change
We
things?
did this with no other position. And secondly, for the record, all of the positions that were adjusted at town meeting were retroactive to July 1st. These would not go into effect until July 1st. So we're not even looking for the retroactive correction.
So maybe all the other department heads should come back and get retroactive too, to when their was approved.
I just
No, they got it
respectfully, I
retroactive.
question the board as to what the reason for that is.
I do too. I was no discussion.
The
and-
recommendation
Did you
is
even
a grade
understand that?
16.
I mean, I'm
The recommendation
Yes.
is a grade 16.
And we can still discuss
Step
because
7.
we haven't officially
I-
closed the motion.
Right, it's, recommendation is a grade 16, step 7. And respectfully, I would appreciate an analysis as to why
I would
in
too.
the
I-
11th
yeah.
hour, we're gonna wait till July 1st.
Well, I think by doing it now, we're going ahead and not waiting on
Right,
this one.
and he'll get a $4,000 raise in July 1st.
No, it's 1,000.
1,000.
On July 1st,
Yeah, the
because,
math-
well, all the math has been wrong and everything we've gotten.
plus probably a 2% COLA, probably.
Along
Oh,
with
this-
everybody else who
Right,
got the raises.
right. Right.
That were much more substantial, some that were in the 10 or 15,000 to $20,000 range.
Through the chair, for the record, it would be grade 16, step 7, that amount, effective July 1st.
Yeah, I understand that. I just didn't understand the other motion till.
I'm trying to bend a little bit. and-
No, I understand. I
Well-
just didn't, I mean, it was so quick and you voted on it, I didn't
Well, it
understand it.
hasn't, the motion has not been finalized. So do we want to defer this to our next meeting? What do we want to do?
I don't see why we'd defer it. I mean,
I'm just
if you two
Making
aren't,
sure everybody.
I mean, we can disagree, I mean, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be mad at you, I'm just saying that I don't
No, no.
get the point of that motion and then changing it at the last hour when, and if that's what Gary was trying to do, that's great, but without entertaining the motion of, and I guess I should have made it quicker with the grade 16, step 7. But we've made a motion that wasn't even talked about. So we essentially haven't fixed the position in the flawed,
No.
compensation grid that should have been fixed probably long ago before we even opened up anybody's contract. So,
That's all relative, because we did fix the grade.
we did fix the grade, but this.
And we did fix the step, only it's effective now.
Well,
I just have a
Well, we
question
didn't
about
step
the
the fo-
budget,
we didn't-
because I know Lisa's building it
Over here.
in for July 1st.
Yeah.
If they were to go through.
Actually, I believe finance figured that everybody was going to be slaughtered.
Okay.
That was the question that was asked of me in the fall.
I don't know, I have a feeling that this was another department or another, this would be corrected. I really do. I think this is crap, honestly. I think we're shafting an employee.
Agreed. Respectfully agreed.
And that's with all due respect to both of you. It has nothing to do with Mark. I think we are shafting an employee based on whether it's personal or just, we're shafting an employee. Completely shafting an employee.
Why do we have a personnel board to give us recommendations if,
Why do we have
We
a
don't
finance
follow.
committee? We don't, they're an advisory board. We didn't have a personnel board for 3 years. We got stuff done.
I'm just,
And like I said, in defense of Lieutenant Gill, I think they did everything correctly because they took that position and did everything with the position based on the study. You knew about
Yeah, the step is the prerogative of the board, and I'm recommending respectfully a step 7. And that, you can pull that out of the clouds, you have my memo,
Mhm.
and this information was transmitted, granted there was an error on the math, which I take responsibility for, was transmitted on Friday. This memo was also transmitted first thing on Monday, and with all due respect, this is the first time I've heard from any of you, we're gonna now make it a grade 4 effective now and wait till July 1st. Wait till July 1st for what?
I
They'll
make a
go up-
motion that the previous motion be vacated.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
no.
Chair says aye. All right, well, that one I'm going to go with 2-1. So let's discuss that we need to, let's go to the next one and come back to that one. All right, how does that sound? So let's go to the Director of Parks and Recreation, and we're going to come back to the Superintendent. So based on the packet, It would be a recommendation of reclassification to grade 11, step 4. Is that, no. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, to the chair, as requested by the Parks Commission.
Any discussion?
What is he now?
Through the chair, a 10-4. And this recommendation,
10-7.
he's a 10-7.
10-7.
So this would be an 11-4. per the-
Slotted in.
Right.
So, grade 11, step 4. I make a motion that we approve the recommendation of the Personnel Board for the, what's Jesperson, Parks Administrator?
Director of Parks and Recreation.
Director of Parks and Recreation to be a, what was the grade again? I'm sorry, I wrote it. Start
Grade
with-
11, step 4.
Grade 11, step 4.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. All right, next one, town engineer. Recommendation is to, what is he currently?
Grade 11.
Grade 11.
He's currently a
Outside.
grade 11?
Grade 11.
Okay.
Outside.
Outside, grade 11, maxed out, stepped out.
Okay.
Currently.
And the recommendation by the Personnel Board and recommended by the HRS methodology is a grade 12, step 8.
Correct.
And he was stepped out on a grade 11. So, grade 11, wait a minute, where's my line here? Right, and then that makes,
That makes him slotted in. I'll make a motion to approve the town engineer to grade 12, step 8. Is that what it was?
Yes. Second.
Effective July 1st, 2016.
Second.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, chair says aye. All right, now to the business manager. Currently, the position is a grade 8, slotted out, and it would be, the recommendation by the Personnel Board is a grade 9.
Bear with me for a second, we're all over the place in this with the iPad.
Grade 9, step 8.
Through the chair, the incumbent at grade 9, it would just be grade 9 stepped out. So
No change.
if you go with the personnel board, there'd be no change. The position would be eligible for cost of living adjustments as approved by town meeting.
And you were in agreement with that?
No, I had a grade 12, step 3. But,
And the Personnel Board had a grade 9 with no
because
step?
it's maxed out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if it's confusing for you people at home, it's confusing here with the 9s and the steps.
All right. Okay, so the Personnel Board has recommended a grade 9, but it should be stepped out.
Mm-hmm.
You're recommending a grade 12 at a step 3.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to slot it in,
Wouldn't be
and
close.
I'm looking at my, wait a minute, okay, I gotta get my line here. If you slot it in, it would be maybe a grade 10, step 9. Am I reading my lines right? If you were to just slot in, like we've done
Step
with the
8.
other two positions.
Grade what? 10?
Grade 10 at a step 9 would be more of a slot in. Current salary 62,000. So if
Step
you
8.
go to a grade 10, step,
8.
well, step 8, yeah, I guess that would be the next closest.
What was it, Janice? You had 10?
Currently, she's a grade, they've got it recommended as a grade 9, but she stepped out because her
Yeah.
salary is 62,000.
Yep.
If you slot her in, like we've done with the other two positions, then that would make her a grade 10. Closest would be a step 8. Or you could do,
Jeez.
or you could, if you were to give a slight bump, what the others did, then you would slot it in as a grade 10, step 9. But the town administrator is recommending grade 12, step 3. But we
Yeah.
slotted in the other two.
The thing is, it stepped out, but this was graded as step 9.
That's their,
We
That's
graded
their
it as step
recommendation, yeah. And Robert's recommendation is a grade 12.
What was it previously? Because the position has changed within,
it's never,
never had
through the
a,
chair, it's never been really on the compensation, the old compensation grid system. But the personnel board went through the whole process and they came up with a grade 9, and the grading, the recommendations on grading is specifically their prerogative. It's a recommendation.
Mhm.
I just point out in the materials to you, we disagree, and I explained why on that. It has to do with the rating of the point
her
system.
job description.
Right, and the personnel board also does it by consensus, meaning each individual does it individually, and then they, which is a good they go through that process. But they did not recommend a grade, even a grade 10 or grade
Right.
11 or grade 12. They recommended grade 9.
But that's a huge discrepancy.
Yeah. Considering this person just got a, I want to say $10,000 raise?
I think you're somewhere in that department, yeah, in that range.
Right, who whistled?
Somebody in the hall.
Dinging
So,
and beeping and
is-
buzzing.
Is
Sorry, I got it off.
grade 9, step 11, is that her current salary?
She would.
She stepped out.
She,
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So if you were to get comparable to the current salary, it has to be a grade 10, step 8,
Which
to be
was,
comparable with current salary.
which again wasn't anywhere in our recommendation.
It's not in the recommendation by the personnel board, it's not in the recommendation by the town administrator.
Can I, if it, not to beat a dead horse, what was your discrepancies between, and again, I go back to the fact that the personnel board has probably less interaction with the business manager down there than you. So I guess I'm just asking, is there,
Just real quick, give you the short version. The HRS study puts forth 14 categories to each position, physical environment, and so forth. And you rate them from a first degree on the lowest to fifth degree as the highest. And then each of these degrees corresponds to a point number. So for example, like a fourth degree on knowledge, training, and education for this position is 60 points, okay? The first, and this was done independently, the personnel board did this on February 17th. On the first 5 factors, we actually completely agree. Then on factor 6 was interactions with others and customer service. I gave the position a 5, which is the highest. They gave the position a 4. By me giving it a 5, it's awarded 40 points. By getting a 4, it's 20 points. Confidentiality was the next one. I gave the position, in this case, it was reversed. In this case, I gave it a 3, and the personnel board gave it a 4. But then from basically factors 8 through 14, like occupational risks, they gave it a 2, I gave it a 2. But complexity of the position, and this is all spelled out, I gave it a 4, they gave it a 3. Supervision received, I gave it a 5, they gave it a 3. So these discrepancies, the points, when you add up, then you add up the points, and a certain point range gives it the grade. The personnel board's total was 366 points, which corresponds to grade 9. When I did the process, it was 461 points, which was the grade 12. The recommendation on step 3 was the minimum step 3 of that grade.
But herein lies the problem. You keep saying, that he has more interaction with them and everything, but it's supposed to be you're supposed to be classifying the job description, not the individual. That's when we step in for the step. but the grade has got to be set by the job description. So obviously, the job description is written in such a way that it would be a grade 9.
Correct.
Okay.
You know, so, but then when you add in, yes, you're looking at the individual, yeah, it would be bumped up. So what are we saying here? Are we saying that they're supposed to be recommending based on the job description? A job description that we would send out if we were doing a job posting, or then,
Well, I'm wondering, do they have her graded, what is she, I mean, I look at it as you say, interaction. I believe every dump sticker goes through that person, correct?
No.
No? And I'm just asking, no?
Tim works in the office too.
Okay.
Right, I mean, to the chair, as we all know, this is dealing with people and people are doing the ratings, so it's not, when I say an exact science, I mean, when I did it independently on this particular time that I did it, came out to 461. I could do it tonight and it could come out to, say, 386. The lieutenant, in other words, there is some level of judgment and interpretation there. We disagree. There's a significant.
See, this is where my personal business instinct completely differs from all this stuff, because I look at somebody, and Gary and Janice both work for me, and you start at the same salary, but I look at and.
well, that's different.
But
because
this-
then you're looking at the individual who's performing the duties, and you're looking at it maybe an individual who's going above and beyond. But if it's not written in the job description,
Then they shouldn't go above and beyond anymore? Like,
No,
there's no, I mean,
not
'cause
at
I
all,
would- I
not at
wouldn't.
all. What I'm saying is that you have to set
I mean-
it by a job description. Because that job description is what we would send out, any of these job descriptions is what we would send out in a job posting.
So here's an example on this position. If the grade 9 is approved, okay, the incumbent, because of other circumstances and so forth, from a salary point of view, is maxed out.
Correct.
The position is eligible for the cost of living, as I said.
Mhm.
Let's say hypothetically that the incumbent left for another opportunity, and then the town was going to hire this position. With the approved grade 9, we would use a salary range of grade 9, step 1 through 3. That's what we always use, a range of 1 through 3
Correct.
for the next person. So this incumbent at grade 9, it will have no impact on the incumbent. The incumbent will sort of just be an outlier there, maxed out. And
Right.
maybe we have to re-look at it, but there is a significant difference between the personnel board and myself on this one.
I mean, I don't want to mix apples and oranges, but you look at the previous non-union people that were in the building, and there was a number of them maxed out.
Correct. For
That's
years.
just the way it goes with a step and a grade. And you should know that through the service. And the federal government's the same way.
Well,
But if I worked for you, you would get your money's worth.
Well, my point is, there is in every, and unfortunately, with municipalities, I mean, you don't work hard, you get fired when you work for the private industry.
I know.
Sometimes you get people, even, I mean, I'm sure there's, in every department in this town, there's people that are above and beyond.
Yep.
I guess that's where my frustration lies.
And the opposite.
And the opposite,
Right.
exactly. And they're treated 100% exactly the same. And
Right.
that's the issue.
That's where we'll get back.
That's, I guess that's my
Well,
frustration. Or someone works for the town for 30 years and builds their salary up, and then that position is slotted in at the new hire who worked at that salary. Like, I mean, that blows my mind.
Yep.
So, I mean, I guess we could talk all day about how the municipal
Yeah.
system with steps and
You know, yeah, it's not equal.
it's not equal at all. So, I mean, I guess I'm going off, I mean, I get what everybody's saying, but I mean, And I haven't heard any, I mean, I guess I'd have to hear more to why the position should be more, I guess, based on just the grade. Like, is there reasons that besides the grade that I don't know about for this position?
When the grading process was done, we go through using the manual. When I did it, I come out to 461. Superintendent Wessel spoke earlier, I guess he came out to a grade 11, which would be, and when he initially did it, it's probably less than, obviously, the grade 12. When the Personnel Board did it, all 4 members individually did it, and then they met, and the chairman, if maybe you've seen the tape, would ask each member on each of these categories, and then they would go around to try to reach some level of consensus. In some cases, for example, on a category, all 4 would say a 3. It was pretty clear. In some cases, it'd be 2 3s and a 4, and they debated and so forth. When they did it, they came out to a grade 9. They're recommending, as the Personnel Board, their recommendation, and this is their prerogative for the personnel bylaw, is a grade 9. And I'm just saying, if it's at a grade 9, the incumbent, okay, we're not going to take salary away from anybody. The incumbent will be maxed out, and
that's based on job description.
that is based on the job description. And as you can see, in this case, you can have different numbers on the job description. There was not universal consensus even amongst the Personnel Board, but through that process, that's what it came out.
Okay. I guess if the job description is that the person is doing more than they were hired to do, and I'll give you an example, and she's sitting right to my right. When you were hired, you weren't zoning administrator. The position was compensated for, I believe, to some degree. So if there's more that this position is doing, then I guess, are we being fair? I haven't heard that there's being more, and I guess I'd defer to Mark on that, but do you understand my point? I guess we could go all around all night on this.
What
I'm
it
not trying
sounds to me like, as far as this business manager, due to this big discrepancy between the Personnel Board's recommendation and the town administrator's recommendation, is that the job description is written very poorly. And that we have an extreme problem because there shouldn't be 3 grade difference between the two, in my opinion. If there was a 1 grade difference, I could buy that, but a 3 grade difference, there's something wrong. Now, if we're feeling that it's higher than a 9 but less than a 12, and then you're going to go just make sure it's slotted in, then you come up with a grade 10, step 8, maybe a step 9.
Sorry.
That wasn't me.
It wasn't me. It's you. Beep and vibrating. So I will throw out a recommendation for conversation. A grade 10, step 9. For conversation. I mean, obviously, we're feeling like the position is a little bit more than what the job description's saying, but we're not thinking it's a 12, so I'm throwing out a conversation.
Well, I don't agree with you as far as the description of the job. I think it's graded what she does. And a grade 9 stepped out is what it is. Again, if you want to talk about a hybrid, then you guys slam me about putting something different out there. So, all things being equal, you either go one or the other. In my opinion.
Robert?
Madam Chair, though there is a difference on the grade, it is the Personnel Board's specific under the personnel bylaw to make a grade recommendation. They have done the process and due diligence, as I have. I was at all of their meetings, as was the superintendent and the incumbent. And we voiced our differences and so forth. But at this time, I think we want to preserve the process as far as the grading process that the personnel board did. They recommending a grade 9. It's a grade 9. I will meet with the superintendent and the incumbent and look at it again. Perhaps there's something with the job description. I'm not saying that just to look at it to change it, but I think that the Board of Selectmen would be getting way off the universe to start, and I appreciate that, but start deviating from the grade discussion where it is. It's being recommended by the Personnel Board as a 9. When I did it, my recommendation was a 12, but their recommendation's before you. And I know that the incumbent will be disappointed and will disagree, as does her department head, as do I to an extent, but the Personnel Board did come up to a grade 9. And I agree, Selectman Livingston, if it was maybe a grade discrepancy between a 9 and a 10, or if it was a closer, perhaps it would warrant more discussion, but they have done the analysis.
I'm just doing quick math, so. And Robert, your recommendation again, I'm sorry?
Mine was a 12. Personnel Board's was a 9 on the grade.
He's
And the step
recommending a
was a
12,
3.
step 3.
Step 3. Well, out of fairness for the process, however it goes, because we are fair, is it DPW Business Manager? Sorry, I don't have it all in front of me. I'm going to make a motion that the DPW Business Manager be classed at a grade 12, step 3.
All right, nobody gonna second that?
What's the current grade of the DPW manager?
Currently at
Grade 8.
grade 8.
Grade 8.
Grade 8?
Mm-hmm.
That's 9.
And she stepped out at a grade 8, and she'd be stepped out at a grade 9.
So this... Okay, so she would be slotted in at step 11 on grade 9.
Grade 9, at 11, it would actually be maxed out
Yeah.
even then.
I'll make a motion that we go with,
Well, we have a motion on the table.
oh, we do? We have-
Yeah, but nobody seconded it.
Right.
And the motion was to approve the town administrator's recommendation for the business manager
Okay.
of a grade 12, step 3.
So respectfully, how long do we wait for a second?
I'll second. All in favor of the motion as presented by Mr. Hellman? Yes, it's Temperature
I'm sorry, aye.
Gary?
No. I mean, we should have some discussion, but
I thought we did. All right. All right, motion's been made and seconded. Discussion?
no. I still vote no. Never mind. Let's keep going.
Brian's got his hand up.
Yes, Brian.
The one thing I'd just like to point out is we're completely destroying the process that's in place by doing this.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, okay, so we have one aye.
Well, I made the motion out of fairness to the
Okay, well, we seconded the motion. All in favor of your motion?
I said aye.
You say
I said
aye.
no.
All right. All opposed to the motion,
I'll say no.
and I'm saying no.
So that process is done.
Okay,
Out of
so
fairness, so
So now we have to make a motion.
Gary had a motion, I believe.
Okay, now you want to make a motion.
Make a motion
Okay,
that we slot in a DPW business manager at a grade 9 as recommended by the Personnel Board as step 11.
I'm going to second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Not to be a hypocrite, I'll say no.
All opposed? No. All right. Business manager is a grade 9. I do recommend that this be looked into. There's that big of a discrepancy. Okay? All right, let's get back to the superintendent.
Kind of like an assistant treasurer, kind of the same thing happened. But
Mark?
I just make a general statement on this, and I brought this up to the Personnel Board. If you look at how the HRS graded this job descriptions, they're not very consistent either. And I'll give you an example. The level of experience is pretty cut and dry.
Mark,
Correct.
it has to be in the job description.
No, right, so what
Okay.
I'm trying to
So-
point out is that if
There's obviously been a problem identified with this job description. It would my recommendation, take it for what you're worth. If there's a severe problem with this job description, fix it and go in front of the Personnel Board again and let them do their job. And then if they have a recommendation, they can bring it forward. But now we'd like to discuss your position.
I just would like to
Okay.
make a statement about this. If you went through and did the same exercise with all the people that were classified in the HRS, you would have the same type of discrepancies. Because, for instance.
It's never gonna be a perfect program.
No, I
It's
know
never
that,
gonna be a
but
perfect
I'm just
system.
pointing out that there were some people that were basically didn't go through the scrutiny with the job descriptions. They were given a
Wait.
classification and a step.
That would be,
And-
you're talking about the non-union
I'm
compensation,
talking
okay?
about-
But
and-
Mark, we're
and
gonna
I'm
move
talking
on.
about-
Mark, we're gonna move on, okay? All right, so now, let's talk about Mark.
Madam Chair, just on the DPW Superintendent of Public Works, the grade recommendation is a 16 by the Personnel Board. It's also 16 by myself, and I am respectfully recommending grade 16, step 7. The justification for the 7 is set forth in the memo that I put to you. Is consistent within the parameters of the study and takes into account those comps or the deficient in comps and makes the position comparable within the marketplace.
And the Personnel Board's step was a 4?
Personnel
Well-
Board recommended, no,
16.
they recommended the grade of 16.
Yeah.
The original recommendation that was put into our packet was a step 4. There was an incorrect salary amount put in our packet.
Yep.
The salary has been since corrected in the memo
Mm-hmm.
of March 7th, and Robert then upped his recommendation to a step 7.
Which, just for the record, you also have my memo to the Personnel Board on January 6, 2016. I recommended a grade 16, step 7.
Yes, to
Right,
clarify
but
that
they
you
can't
didn't.
do the steps anyway.
Right, the steps.
Yeah, they can only do the grades.
Right.
So they agreed with your recommendation of the grade,
Right.
but then we had this hullabaloo going on within the packet and the memo you sent us yesterday as far as the step
And
and the salary amount, so it's been corrected.
And I apologize for any confusion on that.
Okay, so currently, what are you again? What is he currently?
Currently a 14.
He's a who, what? He's a
14.
Migraine
Grade
330.
14,
He's a 14
maxed.
maxed out. They've upped it to a grade 16 and you've recommended,
7.
okay, so so you'd be like a step 12 if there was a step 12. And you're recommending it to a 7. Current salary, 98. We're making it comparable to the rest of the municipality that there's comparable, I'm getting such a
Yeah,
headache.
it's
Oh my God, I'm
comparable,
getting
right?
dizzy on
Other
this.
positions in other communities. with
That
this
have
stuff.
like a wastewater management and all that stuff.
Correct.
So,
Okay.
because I'm getting an eye headache so horrible now, I feel like, grade 16 was agreed on, town administrator recommends step 7
Mhm.
for the DPW administrator, DPW superintendent. And what was proposed earlier?
That is the recommendation.
No, Gary made a motion earlier, I'm sorry.
4.
4, okay.
Right.
As I did with the previous position, I think we're correcting some things that were horribly wrong with this. I'm going to make a motion that the DPW superintendent be at a grade 16, step 7, as recommended by the town administrator.
Seconded. Any discussion?
Um,
Robert, just out of curiosity, why not a step 5 or why not a step 6? I want,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure.
I took it.
Because, I mean, this,
Mhm.
it's a personal services contract.
Right.
It was renegotiated last year.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to reopen it, and that's a,
2 categories. One is the comps on the position. If we were to go hire a Department of Public Works superintendent as a professional engineer, that's another key point. Though the job description does require PE, with a professional engineer for wastewater, water, highway, the 5 divisions, the size, the scope, and so forth, you're looking at a starting salary range between probably $97,000 to $102,000. I take that into account on the comps. Then I look at, and this is within the parameters of the study on the step, I'm looking at exactly the incumbent, who is a professional engineer, and I know that's in the job description. He also has 2 drinking water professional licensures. He has the stormwater professional license. And then, if you look in the study, also for the incumbent, taking into account extensive, when I say extensive community and public committee work, I'm looking at above and beyond the scope of the DPW superintendent. In this case, the incumbent has played a key staff role on the master plan efforts. He led up the whole stormwater effort and is still responsible on stormwater issues. The curbside study group and everything that relates to the transfer station, these go above sort of the minimal requirements of the position. Additionally, projects above and beyond, and regardless of what your opinion is on the projects, the streetscape plan, the whole water main plan, all of these things that goes above and beyond, I believe that taking into consideration the incumbent's unique skills plus his 5 years of also service to the town, but you take his unique skills and contributions and looking at comparable positions that were not incorporated in the HRS study because we were given comps that didn't have wastewater treatment plants and so forth in there. I believe that in this case that the step 7 is warranted.
all right, so we have the motion, we've seconded it, we just had the discussion. All those in favor of grade 16, step 7, which after discussion, I am going to tell you, I'm saying aye, because of the more meat and the more I think about it and the more things that I do understand that he's involved in, and yeah.
Aye.
Oh, did you call the vote?
I said aye. I think I heard a whisper of an aye.
Did you call the vote? I'm sorry, you're right. Usually you call the vote first before
Okay,
you
let me
say.
try that again. All those in favor Chair says aye to the motion of grade 16, step 7. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed?
No.
All right. Motion's passing.
Okay, move on.
Okay.
Thank God.
Lieutenant
Thanks,
Gill,
Brian.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Apologize to your family for keeping you here about an hour longer than you thought you were going to be.
He's got nothing to do.
No. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Anybody need
Please,
an
let's
Altoid?
not do that again for a while.
Good discussion.
It was a
Well,
very healthy
I guess
discussion,
it
and it
should have
was a
been-
very
it
healthy discussion. It was all
shouldn't
out
have
and
been left
open,
to
which
the
is
end.
great.
It should have been, like, it should have been brought right away. Oh, what, do you got any more of those?
Okay.
I don't have to write
All right.
salaries again.
Robert?
Not sure we do either.
Oh, thank you. Robert, if you want to go ahead and get started, and
You stealing those from the post office in your final days?
I'll
They're mine.
go ahead and start, Robert.
Okay,
Talk fast.
sorry, hang on, okay.
You're all through these.
Okay, as far as the administrative update, we're focused largely on the conclusion of the budget and the warrant. To Selectman Luca, I sent out just before this meeting, we're looking to have a by-board meeting the beginning of next week to go over the budget sort of punch list.
5:30, I may be able to make it. I have
Okay.
a doctor's appointment at 2:30.
All right, we can push it back to 6, but we're, in speaking to the budget, I know that the board is looking to move the meeting, your meeting, to March 23rd on a Wednesday at 7, if that works. The Finance Committee is scheduled to meet that night, so they suggested that we do the joint meeting on the budget, or have a joint meeting on the budget to discuss. There really aren't, and the buy board will have met, there really aren't, and I saw the chairman tonight, huge discrepancies between the two, but some of the things that we need to nail down is the exact OPEB contribution for the town, how much for capital stabilization, how much for a regular stabilization, the issue of the police department, there's those 4 position requests, and I know we've discussed that some, the 2 dispatchers and the 2 patrol, but I think we need to come to what the plan is going to be with respect to that. So I think in terms of the next budget benchmarks would be the by-board meeting next week. If the Board of Selectmen and the FinCom could meet jointly on March 23rd, which is a Wednesday, to discuss the budget, and that would be also your regular meeting. The water and sewer rate hearing is on April 5th as part of your meeting at 7 o'clock.
So 23rd, there isn't too much. To be their joint meeting.
Right, the 23rd, for the chair's
Oh, the
benefit.
22nd.
Yeah, the 20, so what would be the 23rd now, the main meat of the meeting at this point would be the budget with the FinCom. Of course, departments may have things that require approval and so forth.
I have no objections to it. I can't 100% say I can make it on Wednesday because the softball starting. Just finished, but I want to attend the same event Gary does. So it shouldn't be a problem though. So I have no issues with it.
I have no issues with the March 23rd. Do we need to make a vote on
No,
it?
I think as long as there's agreement so the public knows.
And I think it's a good idea to bring the FinCom in too.
Yeah.
So the Board of Selectmen
That
will
night.
meet on the 23rd as a regular meeting. The first piece will be the joint meeting on the budget with the FinCom
Okay.
on the 23rd.
Okay.
The 5th is the water and sewer rate hearing as part of your regular meeting. The next item is on the town report is being put together. I have received from most of you, as we've done in the past, I take any items that selectmen want in the message for the town report and incorporate them into, I have from Selectman Livingston.
Was I supposed to do that?
A list. And you've given me in bits and pieces some things. What Ms. Antonellis and I did is we basically
I don't remember,
take,
but-
I get
we'll
nothing.
take the last year in review. We basically take, as we did in the past, we take your minutes and we go through all the major, put the message together.
You guys will figure it out.
The other piece is if you have any suggestions on the cover, we'd welcome them. We do have a recommendation on one dedication that came forward. It's not a
Town flag.
surprise, but inside the dedication for Mr. Murray Clark, it came forth from Mr. Okay, never strike that from the record. But anyway, if you have any thoughts on dedication, it's been a
Mary
while.
Clark is fine, though, where it came from.
Oh,
Oh.
thank you, okay.
I felt like I was at a dinner with my
Sorry.
kids.
So, many of you know Mr. Clark. A dedication from a recommendation came forward as a potential of, like, the inside cover, inside doing a dedication page to him for his years of service in various capacities. His most recent was as chair of the high school project committee, and I just transmitted a letter I got to that effect to the board, so you'll see
We
it
know
after
Murray
this meeting.
loves
Yeah,
publicity, so.
So that's one thought. Again, Ms. Knox is sort of in charge of putting this together, but if you have any other thoughts on a cover too, last year we did employees, we've done pictures of town hall in the past.
Yeah, I don't know why they left us off the cover.
Yeah.
It was almost, like they
Yeah.
didn't want us, to admit us or something,
That's fine, they can put us on the back cover.
So some years we've just done the town seal, but if you have any thoughts, I mean, we'll get creative, but if you
Was the picture of,
The high school?
we could, that's kind of as doing the high school
What about
It's now
building.
it's officially finished.
that's a good point.
What else did
In
you
high
have?
school. Well, I was just saying, Cindy's been putting up some of those great old pictures of downtown
We were thinking
Ayer.
about putting some old pictures in
Yeah.
it. If there's any in memoriams that you can think of, I mean, we'll check again. But we basically have a cover, the inner back cover, and we try, so if you think of anything, if you can let me know this week, that'd be great as we try to put it.
I
put
recommend
it
high
together.
school, because,
Yeah, that came up
That-
too.
yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I think they're getting the seal on the front soon too. I know they were voting on that, so that, if we could get that would be.
The next
Makes sense.
item in the packet, as you know, the town of Ayer is a founding member of the Household Hazardous Waste Center up on Devons, which is open on the first Wednesday and first Saturday of every month, where residents from 10 communities can bring their household hazardous waste. There is an amendment for approval by the board with signature by the chair. The collaborative is looking to add the town of Stowe to the collaborative, so Stowe will become the 12th town. The center can easily take that capacity. The positive is it will decrease our annual assessment with more members. So I'm recommending that the board vote to approve Amendment 3 for signature by the chair.
Jerry?
Make a motion that we approve amendment, Third Amendment to the intermunicipal agreement among the communities in the Devons region participating in the Devons Regional Household Hazardous Products Collection Program, as outlined in the memo, with signature by the chair.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
The next item, the building department proposal we'll do on the 23rd. The municipal modernization bill, as I put in your packet, Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito have put forth a municipal modernization bill to the legislature. And you have in your packet what I'll call the executive summary of it that Carly put together. The summary alone is multiple pages, but it's the first time in recent years that an effort has been put forth. This bill seeks to modernize many of the nuts and bolts of municipal government. For example, there's a whole section that looks to improve the procurement requirements. In other words, decrease the amount of time you have to advertise, how you advertise. So a lot of procurement modernization to make doing business better. It also has in there a lot of changes to other mechanics of government that haven't been looked at in some cases since the 19th century. The bill right now is gone to the legislature and they're going to be having hearings. What I'm asking, I'm sure Selectmen had a chance to look at the executive summary, asking the board if the board would consider authorizing a letter of support to the delegation on this bill. And what everybody's interested in, it's a huge bill, and I think everybody, including the governor, knows that not everything is going to pass, or maybe none of it will pass, but what the letter would basically say would be encourage the state delegation to make sure that the bill is given a fair and thorough vetting through the committee process, the hearing process, and is brought to a vote. Because often these things, as the board knows, die in committee and so forth. And my colleagues from the various towns in this area, and talking with Representative Harrington specifically, a letter of support just that the modernization bill be considered by the legislature would go a long way.
I mean, everything seems to make sense. I mean,
Yeah, sounds fine to me.
I make a motion that the Ayer Board of Selectmen draft a letter in support of the I cannot speak tonight.
Municipal modernization bill.
Finance, yes, bill.
Second,
All those in favor?
just one thing.
Oh, sorry.
I like the collections of revenue for meters, that you can have a fund for that, or it just goes in the general fund, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's a couple of things in there that kind of piques my.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Okay.
And that's gonna, don't they shut down because of campaigning? Like, isn't there some
July,
ridiculous thing?
by July 1st,
31st.
31st.
Till November,
Yeah.
Till January.
till January, sorry,
The next item,
school vacation.
and we've talked about the MPO many times, the Montechusett Planning Organization, is this region's transportation planning organization, is getting reformed and reconstituted. And I received a correspondence from them that they are looking for, each municipality is given a representative, and an alternate. And then each subregion, there are 5 subregions, Ayer is in subregion 3. Each subregion picks a voting town to vote at the MPO. The importance is, as the board knows, the MPO is the regional body responsible for all of the scheduling, funding, requests, and implementation of many of the transportation infrastructure projects that go onto the tip. And the MPO is where it sort of all happens to move a lot of these projects forward, whether it's any of the state-funded road projects in Ayer or anything pertaining to the rail. So I believe that we should play, we meaning the town of Ayer, try to play more of a role in the MPO at the table. And unfortunately, their meetings are during the day, so they often like to have selectmen as the
Come out.
representatives. Right. So I'm recommending that the board first consider appointing a selectman if one of the 3 of you is interested. The meetings are held at Mart in Fitchburg. As the primary rep,
Even better.
and appointing myself as the town administrator as the alternate.
I could do it.
Interestingly, Mr. Keyser from Devon's approached Ayer, Shirley, and Harvard and volunteered to be an alternate rep for one of the towns, though Devon's isn't in the MPO. But in full disclosure, he did make that request.
No, thank you.
I did ask the planning board. I asked the planning board chair,
you,
and nobody could commit.
Thank you.
The challenge is the meetings at noontime. They do provide lunch, but nobody from the planning board. So at a minimum, it'd be great if there was a selectman
Was it once a month?
I'll volunteer.
once a month,
Yeah,
Gary wants to do
I
it.
make a motion that Gary be
the primary.
I second
primary.
it. I
And
second
then
it.
I'd recommend myself as the alternate.
Yep,
So moved.
so move. All in favor of Gary and being the primary, Robert being the secondary?
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
Aye.
The next item, as the board is well aware, the town's bylaws from the beginning till the present, the town's bylaws, and this is meant as no disrespect, leave a lot to be desired in terms of getting them organized, format. We've all run into this. I've talked to the town clerk about this, and I know that Selectman Livingston has expressed interest in doing a formal review of the town bylaws. And I had asked Carly to look into this some months ago. I'm putting forward a proposal to the board for a formal town bylaw review. The working group would be the town clerk, myself, Selectman Livingston, and Miss Antonellis. And for $900, using Municode, which is a professional consultant firm, we would do a thorough review and legal review of all of the town's bylaws, checking to make sure that everything is as current, there's no conflict in the bylaws, do a whole thorough review. We all know that any changes to any bylaw are going to require this board putting warrant articles before town meeting and ultimately up to town meeting. So we're in no way, this group or this project, in no way is going to
Sure.
usurp or go around town meeting.
You're
So,
meeting to make recommendations on what needs to be.
right, the group
Right.
will work.
We found
Changed,
that stuff
axed,
is
added.
way, I mean, like
Yeah, I've looked at some
30
of them.
years old. We have some bylaws that contradict each other.
Mhm.
So that's what we'd like to do.
And then in the end, too, get everything that it needs to be, and also all uniform in the format. As you
Right.
know, the bylaws are in, I think, about 8 different fonts, including
Yeah,
19th century script in some cases.
Yeah.
But
Latin.
get it
Yeah,
so all,
and then that way so that, it's also,
yeah,
gonna look good,
right.
because that's part of it too, so.
So
Yeah.
just, there's no objection. I
We
just
don't need to
wanted,
vote on that, right?
there's
Or
not a
working
vote
group?
required, but I wanted,
No, I think it's a good
Are
idea.
you saying,
Live
oh,
long
live
and
long and
prosper.
prosper, okay.
all right. So we will proceed and have an update on that and
Okay,
move forward.
all right,
And I believe
all right,
that concludes my report. Thank you.
okay. All right, so, here's my note. I have, we always put it on the schedule. I decided to put it on the schedule, the agenda a little bit earlier so that we could discuss it.
Need money for that.
Summer schedule, rather than, we usually discuss it like in May and whatnot. I think we should discuss it now, get it out there, setting up the summer schedule. Recommendation, Robert and I looked at the calendars. Again, the Board of Selectmen would meet if needed, any other time, but the recommendation would be June 14th, which is in the middle of the month, so you've got the nice balance between meetings. July 12th, again, nice balance, and then it could either be August 9th, or, because that's actually a 5-week month, it could be August 16th, as far as summer schedule. Yes.
I'm okay with the July and August. June, one meeting in June, we did have an issue about 7, 8 years ago. We had some reserve fund transfers, and we had to come in and,
We got the fiscal year coming up.
Well, I had asked
Right.
Robert, I says, what is our, is there anything that we would really have to be in for as far as 2 meetings in June? And he didn't think so. And as far as 8 years ago, well, that was the Board of 5, so you people were host of.
Well, I would rather meet, if possible, we get into July, forget it. So if it made more sense to meet twice I guess we have to meet once in July, right?
yeah.
Yes.
I would prefer twice in June. That's me.
That would be my only preference too, because I'm not sure I can be here in July or August. I know we have a couple.
All right, so
weddings
I mean, we
Same.
can look at it when
out
it
of
gets
state.
closer,
And
too.
maybe that's.
Well,
that's
the
something,
idea
yeah,
is just to start getting
Yeah.
it out there and let the
Yeah, why don't
public
we do
aware.
that? And also,
All right,
I
so
think we can start looking
We
at
can
dates.
keep the same
Yeah.
schedule for June, and July 12th, which is the Tuesday after the 4th of July weekend.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then the August 9th or 16th, we
I
can
think I'm
look
away,
at.
but that's
Yeah.
not a problem.
Okay,
2
so,
of you are here, it works.
all right, so right now, I'd say we're probably a definite on the July 12th, and then we'll work on the August 9th or 16th date
Sure.
as it gets a little bit closer.
Yep.
Okay?
That
And
works.
again, just because the Board of Selectmen is only scheduling one meeting a month for July or August does not mean that the Board of Selectmen will not meet if needed.
No, it worked last year though, well. The summer before, we met more times than.
Okay,
I'm
all right,
glad.
so now I know we had talked about one of the things, and hold on, Chris, about the March 23rd date, but we've already done that, so we already did that for new business, so, okay, Chris?
And due to the meeting going late, I had thrown this out there to Mark, and we had a discussion on Friday about, and also wanted to include the chief too, because I know he's discussed it or mentioned it. Any improvements we can do to Newton Street, Central Ave, Columbia Street. Obviously, when I was here when I was here, it was during the election, so it was insane, but as I brought up many times out there, and I'm sure the chief's aware, that corner there, when cars are parked back, especially where the my car's parked right now, back towards the, the end there.
I wish we could change the traffic close up
Well,
somehow, and
well,
Make
that's
this a
things I
common.
wanted to look at, and I know Mark was gonna look into more.
Here's a slide.
Yeah. Well, I know we, last year when we talked about this, a traffic island was not going to work because of the fire engines. That's what
we came up with something
the
like
chief,
that.
there was supposed to be like a rumble strip.
Well, yeah, and I thought I had a contractor all lined up, and then, I don't know, he disappeared.
Okay, but
And-
yeah,
And I've got some different contractors who are gonna be coming out to look at doing something like that. But it's not really gonna be like a raised traffic island.
no, it's gonna be like a
maybe-
little rumble
Well,
or,
it's probably more like a textured, like the
Right.
stamped concrete. It'll be sticking up maybe an inch or something, so
Okay.
it'll be noticeable in a car, probably not in a truck.
like a
or fire
cobblestone
truck.
type thing.
Right. Yeah.
But let me just, let's see if I
Yeah.
can go the right way. So, what's the other?
I'll go the other way.
Okay, so that's what we have now. And you can see we drew red dots where the cars park. And you can see it's kind of, as Selectman Hillman said, it can tend to be kind of a free-for-all with people parking close to the crosswalks,
Can I
close to
just
the
point this real
curb.
quick? And the issue that I was talking about today is this.
Yeah,
This corner is not taken as a true corner. It's taken as
yeah.
diagonal.
a diagonal cross
Right.
this lane.
yeah,
And,
that's,
and this is, Gary can tell, is the big U-turn spot for some reason.
Horrible.
Which is
Yeah.
amazing.
and-
Yeah.
and-
Dad in my office.
I don't do U's on Main Street, but everyone does a UE on Central.
Yeah.
And we've looked at, as part of the Main Street Master Plan, really looking more at that intersection and bumping it out a little bit more. It is kind of nice because you can get two cars, so one can go right and one can go left when you come out on Main Street, 'cause I know a lot of times that can back up pretty far. But it's kind of, the parking's kind of free-for-all.
Well, wouldn't it help if we at least painted the parking
So
spots?
what I would recommend, and Chief Murray can correct me, is that we line some areas where we don't want parking, so we're farther back from the crosswalks, farther back from the curb, and just hatch something out so that people know they can't park 20 feet from the curb. Putting a little island at Central Ave visually will help, but I think you'll still get the lazy drivers cutting the corner.
How about something on Columbia?
Well, what about something, you
Well-
said, Mark made a good point about two laps, and what if you had one of those islands?
Well, that's
here
where
where
we'd look at doing something like
Yeah,
that.
so
Now,
Yeah.
traffic return, but you still have two cars.
But isn't that one of the concerns when that particular thing was brought up last year that Chief Pedrazi said could be a problem
Yeah,
with the fire trucks?
we need to make it so a truck can get over.
Well,
it,
Right.
because
yeah,
You
definitely.
see,
Right.
we've been sitting in meetings here when the transformer that doesn't like your power line there goes through. They
Pull it right out of the
physically
ground.
have to come in here, the state police have to come in here and say, oh, someone's gotta move their car. Because they
Right.
can't make the turn, and the reason why they go this way is because they exceed the
Bridge.
weight capacity on the bridge. I'd come across this, I got it out of
What are
order
you
here.
doing?
I come across this concept that was in one of the parking studies done years ago, and it's a little hard to see, but you can see right here that they've skinnied down Central Ave and kind of made it look a little nice there, and gives you a little more of a reason to make a turn like this instead of kind of cutting that corner. And then it's hard to see for the crowd, but you can see they have bump outs at each end to keep the traffic or the parking from getting too close in, and it also gives the pedestrians a shorter way across.
Right.
So a concept like this could work pretty well also, but this will cost a fair amount of money.
Yeah.
But it may be something like, with the complete streets money, we may want to look at how do we improve the pedestrian access around this area. One of the other problems is the sidewalk on this side of Columbia going up is kind of non-existent.
Correct.
There was mention of changing the one-way on Newton?
Well, I was gonna ask Chief Murray.
Would that make a
about that.
difference?
Is that?
I think it,
That'd be a good idea.
No.
No.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't think it would be.
It'd bring too much down Washington.
Flip-flop the other one up
Yeah, 'cause
top.
the emergency vehicles will be going out that way, not coming back.
Okay.
that way. So
All
I
right.
think that that would be,
Has that always been, I mean, I know it's not always, but as long as you've been in town, Chief, has that always been a one-way?
always.
Always?
It's always been one way since, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was, didn't know if it was one way because of
Yeah.
the fire trucks, you know, that's why that was one way and not.
Well, at that point, the fire station was right at the end.
Yeah, so they shot out, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Can I make another suggestion?
Yes,
Please.
I know that the U-turns on Main at Columbia or a heartburn for some people, they're not illegal, but you can make them so. The town has the right, I mean, it's not illegal to do a U-turn there. But the town can say, no U-turns allowed. You can put up signs to that. effect.
So you can't enforce, you cannot give someone a ticket right now for doing a U-turn there?
No.
You can say you're not using your right mind, but I can't give you a ticket for
You
it.
can't, but if you put up signs saying no U-turns, that gives us some enforcement.
And I'm assuming
Oh,
you
well,
would
there
agree
you
with
go.
that, because someone's gonna get crushed there at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't problem.
I have no problem with
I kinda
those.
like that bump out, but then it does kind of
Yeah,
fool
Well,
with traffic.
that'll be, you know, once we get to the next phase of Main Street, that will be vetted out in that intersection there. Because we'll have to rework some sidewalks.
Especially the bump
and
out
stuff.
up there. I mean, obviously it's slow speeds, but, and like
Right.
I said, it was election night, but I mean, I talked to you out there, Gary, when we were across the pass and it
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
it was crazy all day.
Mhm.
I know Officer Cody was out in the back here doing traffic details at night on Newton Street just because it was so.
well, I definitely think we should put a no U-turn sign up.
I agree.
And how fast could we get a no U-turn sign up?
Probably take a week to get one and figure out where to put it.
Okay,
I mean, it's probably 10 or 15, I mean.
I've seen it used as Ayer's second rotary from my office, go right around it.
yeah,
Yeah,
all right, so that would help, that would solve one problem.
sure. Well, it allows
Right.
I didn't really.
And then definitely painting some parking spots.
Yeah, I think if we painted, maybe either paint some parking spots or paint some no parking spots, just hash out some areas, and I can get together with the chief and we can figure out how we want to do that.
It's hard to believe it was parking on both sides of the street at one point, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah, and this concept, if you see, they've got parking on both sides. I
Which-
don't know whether
Come to
that
think of
would
it,
work.
because there are still some people who will park in front of the post office on that
Oh,
sign.
yeah. It's
You
horrible.
know, getting the white lines to let indicate that's it, because obviously the sign's not doing enough.
No.
But to indicate, you know,
You're right.
painting some
It's
white
horrible.
lines.
Yeah, they park right.
You know, because you come around that corner and,
Sure.
you know, I'm good. I'm gonna come around that corner slow because I never know when somebody's gonna jump out at me. And then I'm like, you know, there's that car over there
Right.
and I'm like, really?
Yeah,
No.
no, right. And the traffic flow,
Oh, and
I'm sure.
person in
everybody
a-
that's been in town.
I wanna
It's just
say it was a
increasing.
an old Ford sedan, white car, blonde woman, get off the phone when you're turning on Columbia, onto Columbia from Central. Jeez, not paying attention to what you're doing.
Well, that's most drivers.
Yeah, so,
I mean, I just threw that out there for everybody to kind of think about.
This pretty much won't alleviate the crossing from Newton to
No.
Central.
No,
no, but it'll start helping.
but that idea of either the rumble strip or the raised island, because you could cheat that more towards up the hillside. So you could still make the, because you have your handicap spot on the end too, which
Yeah.
has,
Right,
would keep that, or bring it farther out so that car can't, I mean, obviously it makes it harder to plow, but if it's more of just a raised, like you said, cobblestone or something,
right.
because it is, it's definitely the quick way. It's almost instinctual too.
Uh,
You turn off Newton and you turn.
Yes, it is.
So,
I must admit.
yeah, no, I'm sure, we've all done it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, all right, so some no U-turn
And Chief, you're good,
signs.
you would prefer, you'd like to see the no U-turn signs? I mean, obviously, that's
Yeah, that's
something
good.
you guys can enforce right away, we don't have to change any.
Yeah, I have to look at how we enforce it, but I think there's something we can enforce.
Okay.
Gives us more teeth in it.
Yeah, all right, great.
For that or no?
We, yeah. Should we vote on that?
Yeah,
Probably
just to
should,
make a
right?
record of
All
it.
right,
Um,
make a motion that the town install no U-turn signs on the corner of Main Street and Columbia.
Yep, second.
Second.
Okay.
And if I could just add to, and continue to look into ways to
Right,
make pedestrian access safer.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye,
Chair says aye.
thank you.
Anything
All right.
else? No,
Nope.
thank you. Good ideas.
Y'all coming to the meeting next Wednesday?
What's that?
Y'all coming to the meeting next Wednesday?
16th, we
Thanks,
should have
Chief.
made that announcement.
It was on the,
Did we? Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I saw
that
it on the
was-
website, yeah.
Is that, what time is it? 5?
That was hours ago.
Seven's definitely better.
That, the public meeting is on March 16th here at the town hall at 7 PM.
Thank you, Chief.
welcome, good night, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, meeting minutes. We have the meeting
Can I
minutes.
just add
Oh,
something in
sorry.
there? I'm sorry. I just thought of it a little while ago. I'd just like to thank Harry Zane for putting together all the photo ops,
The video shoots?
video shoots the last 2
It was
weeks.
a video shoot, it wasn't a photo op, it was
I
a
mean,
video shoot.
You can say what you want about it, but he's put in a lot of time for it, with it.
Yes.
And it was a pretty good idea to highlight the town that way.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I know where Innovative Medical is now. I thought of you this morning.
Yeah?
I ran into Janice when we were voting. She's like, Gary's doing something. Where's this Innovative
Yeah,
Medical?
where's Innovative
And I said,
Medical?
right be out by me, and then I saw her this morning. It's over,
Yeah.
on Mechanic Street, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
small little
okay.
By
operation.
All
St.
right.
Mary's, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, how'd it go for you?
it was good. I messed up my lines a bunch of times, but
Yeah? You had one line.
I know.
Welcome to Ayer.
It was tough.
All right,
It was
so
tough.
we have in front of, I couldn't say committee and community in the same sentence, in the
I can't
same
say
sentence.
anything
It was like, it was awful.
Yeah, and I had to bow out of it because you can only do
Yeah.
the day time.
All right, so we have the meeting minutes from
That'd be great.
February 9th of 2016.
Motion to approve?
Seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. And we have the meeting minutes of February 16th. I wasn't here that night, but I didn't see any spelling errors.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Meeting minutes are approved. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our open meeting with the, I need a, I need a motion
Another
to
clerk.
go into,
All right, I'll do it.
okay.
Gary's good at that. Yeah.
Make a motion to move into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Exemption 3, Properties Enforcement Strategy Update, Exemption 3, Acquisition of Real Estate Strategy, Old Fire Station, Exemption 3, Collective Bargaining Contract Updates, and review approval of executive session meeting minutes. Most of these will be an issue if they're done in open session, and the BOS will adjourn for the evening at the conclusion of the executive session.
Seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Chair says aye.